The treatment Job received is not unusual. While his mother's illness may or may not have been HIV/AIDS, rumors spread in his community.
There's a problem with the people around here because if they find anybody who is sick and died, people just say that is HIV. That's the problem. Yeah, to spoil your name, to spoil the name of the family, you see.
3 months after his mother's death, Job dropped out of school.
And I think the playmates were trying to lure him to go to the streets. Here in Kibera or in Nairobi as a whole, as street child, they sniff glue in order to forget their problems. So they are dirty, they don't eat, and they can snatch anything valuable at any time.
Job ran the risk of becoming one of Nairobi's 60,000 street children.
He was a young boy. He could not accept the death of the mother because he really loved the mother. So we were wondering where he had gone to.
A month later, Job returned to school.
When we found him dirty, the head teacher gave some amount so that he could go and shave the hair first. And then we also gave him some uniforms which were donated by the children who had left school. He told me, "Teacher, I didn't know where I was heading to. But now that I've come back to school, I will not let you down again." So that is a boy we rescued again to come back to school.
Often the first to arrive in the morning, Job has been back in school for 1 year and has just started 4th grade. Like children throughout the world, he's learning English, math, and social studies. His curriculum also covers the health crisis that has affected nearly every child in the school. Since his return, Job has been chosen as prefect, or class monitor.
When I asked the other pupils to select a prefect for me, in fact, they gave me his name because they know he works.
I like being chosen to be a prefect. I can help our teacher even if our teacher is not in school.
Can somebody else tell me another province that we have in Kenya?
Central Province.
Very good. Is that clear?
This year, there are 92 in Job's class, and he ranks 3rd among them. So far, he has made good on his promise. Job has not let his teachers down.
To achieve the education for all goals in low-income countries, the world needs an estimated $11 billion each year. Unfortunately, in 2007, funding to low-income countries for basic education was only $2.6 billion. Not only is the whole education funding pie too small, but low-income countries receive too small a slice relative to their need. Although 80% of all out-of-school children reside in these countries, these low-income countries only receive half of the funding for basic education. In addition to that, nearly 1/3 of all education resources went to middle-income countries in the year 2007. Donor funding for education has increased rapidly between the year 2000 and the year 2004. But since then, total aid for basic education has declined by nearly 22%. Most donor governments have decreased spending, and other donor governments have not filled in the gap. While U.S. funding has grown, the U.S. is not likely to meet its fair share of the global education need of $2 billion for the fiscal year of 2010. In his presidential campaign, President Barack Obama offered a vision of hope not just for the United States, but for the entire world. By creating a global fund for education, he has the chance to deliver on a promise that will have resounding impact not only on children overseas, but on America's legacy for generations to come. President Obama's inaugural address contained a ringing endorsement of U.S. engagement with the developing world when he stated, "To the people of poor nations, we pledge to work alongside you to make your farms flourish and to let clean waters flow, to nourish starved bodies and feed hungry minds." Our country's economic health and security are inextricably linked to the prosperity and security of the rest of the world. The current economic crisis brings with it a strong temptation to turn inward and focus on the pain that we are experiencing here at home. But pulling back from global engagement is not an option. Stability and prosperity go hand in hand, and neither is possible in the presence of widespread and extreme poverty. President Obama's commitment to educating children around the world not only resonates throughout his administration, but also with the Results Organization. Joanne Carter, Executive Director of the Results Education Fund, has stated, "Both President Obama and Secretary of State Clinton have stated a bold commitment to launching a global fund for education. As this global financial crisis disproportionately impacts the poorest people in the poorest nations, we urgently need the administration to follow through on its promise to move forward on this global fund for education. This would enable low-income countries to provide at least a basic education for all of their children. This will provide enormous benefits in breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty, promoting health and prosperity, and building peace and stability." With all this in mind, Results would like to urge you to contact your local legislators and ask them to support the Global Fund for Education. Try to engage your legislators and remind them of the difficult times that people are experiencing in this country, and then ask them to imagine how much more difficult things would be if our government was too poor or unstable to offer any education at all. Remember, before the economic crisis, most families were living on $1 a day. Just imagine how much more difficult times are right now.